Welcome everyone to Wager Talk Extra Golf Edition. I am Andy Lang from WagerTalk.com, being joined as always with Nick Borrman from WagerTalk.com. Guys, you're going to want to watch this show. We've got a lot of really great things that's going to help you with your betting. There's only 50 guys in this field. We're almost here to the final tournament of the PGA 2023 season, and it's been a profitable one for myself and Nick. So we got a lot of good stuff for you to help you with those bets and bring in some profit. So let's get right into it. Nick, you have been absolutely amazing with your outright winners. Go ahead and tell everyone what you have up on your page and where we can find you at.
Yeah, Andy, right now, as always, you can grab this week's tournament pack, $19, and includes all outright and leaderboard bets. We're trying to get outright winner number 12 this year, up over 156 units on the year. 2 more tournaments to go. Hope we can just finish strong with just cashing one more. But either way, it's been an incredible season. So again, you can get this week's tournament pack available right now. If you're into another sport, soccer at all, I have a great deal going on. 1 year all soccer, the Euro season, so like the Premier League, Serie A, Bundesliga, all those just started this weekend. So we are talking 1 year, which will go all the way through next summer's Euro tournament as well. You can grab that for just $5.99. It's normally priced at $9.99, so nearly half off. Up 80 units in soccer alone just since April. So hoping to continue that run as we get into a new soccer season. But that's what's going on right now, and you can find both of those deals over at my page at WagerTalk.
All right, guys, we are playing the Olympia Field Golf Course, and this is not going to be a birdie fest. Far from it. This is a very difficult course. We saw minus 15 get the job done last week. I don't think they're going to get close to minus 15. My guess is minus 11 or minus 12 is going to get it done. Maybe even less. Maybe even double digits is going to be hard. This is a par 70 course, 7,300 yards. No water on this course. It's just a really long, brutal par 70. You've got both par 5s are over 600 yards. I don't think anybody in the field is going to be able to get there in 2. So you're looking at a drive and a layup and then a short wedge on both of the par 5s. And 7 of the par 4s are over 450 yards. So this course is long as a par 70. It's got some teeth to it. Got some really, really good bunkers around the greens. So any wayward shots are going to be penalized. Fairways are not real tight, but in places, if you miss the fairway off your drive, you're going to be looking at some different and difficult shots. So I've highlighted 3 holes that I'd like to go over here. Hole 8. This is not a typo. 280-yard par 3. And look at this green. It's surrounded by bunkers here. And, 280 yards, really, really long iron. I don't know if guys are going to pull out woods on this one, but it's going to be really hard to get the ball to stop on this green. And I think we're going to see a lot of balls end up in the bunker where up and downs are going to be necessary. So getting out of the sand, and getting out of the rough, or even if it's coming up short, just a chip up and down from the fairway. It's a brutal hole, 280-yard par 3. So this one is going to cause players all kinds of problems this week. Next hole, I'm looking at hole 11. This is one of the shorter par 4s, 396-yard par 4. You see we've got the dog leg to the left. On the drive, though, you got to hit the fairway. You do not want to be in those bunkers off to the left, especially if the pin location is off to the left. If you hit it in those bunkers on the left, it is a brutal approach shot. So this hole is gettable if you can hit the fairway. So expect guys to really take this hole serious because there's not too many birdie opportunities. This could be one of them. And finally, we will finish with the last hole, hole 18. This is no gimme, 500-yard par 4. There's really not much to this except you got to hit the fairway. You can see the trees off to the left. If you hit it in the rough off to the left, you're going to be navigating trees where you're probably not going to be able to get up and over them. You're probably just going to have to punch right out. They've got the bunker on the left and right, fairly close to the landing area. So you're going to have to swing really hard off the tee to get distance to make it a manageable approach shot, but inaccuracy off the tee is going to make it tough. So this is going to be a great course. This is a real test. The PGA Tour wanted a lot of courses that were birdie fests when we get to the tournament. This is not one of them. This is going to be a tough one. So double digits is going to be a minus double digits. It's going to be a really, really good score on this course. All right, Nick, the chart that has done all of us so well this year, especially you. You've given out 11 outright winners. We got to talk about the total strokes gain. So let's take a look at the chart and what we can read from it for this week.
Yeah, Andy, the strokes gain chart, we always like to look at that every single week. Lucas Glover was not in the top 10 last week at the first playoff event. So that is back to back, of course, for Lucas, not in the top 10. So our percentage on these is down to 50%. That's still pretty good, though, to be able to pick 50% of the outright winners just from looking at this top 10 graphic. As I said last week, most likely we're going to be looking at the very similar list as we did at the FedEx St. Jude. And we, of course, are. This is pretty much a carbon copy. A couple people flipped positions. One drop off was Tony Finau and replaced by Max Homa, but just doesn't mean like he's all of a sudden off the list completely. He just fell down to number 11, so he just didn't quite make the cut. But as you can see here, hottest guy in the shortest amount of time right now, Rory McIlroy. He's not winning, but he is damn close in everything he is playing, and he's going to win eventually. This is kind of what happened last year. He didn't win. Of course, then he wins the Tour Championship and wins all the cash. So it kind of seems like it's setting up for just that again. I threw in some notables here, as we always do. Tommy Fleetwood. I unfortunately had him last week, and he came up. I called him he's always the bridesmaid, never the bride. He just can't win, but he's always a top 5 finisher. In fact, he's a PGA Tour record now of most top 5 finishes without a win. So thank you, Tommy Fleetwood. Close but no cigar, but he obviously is playing very, very well, and you can see he is trending upwards. Lucas Glover, obviously going to get a lot of attention. Back-to-back wins. Still, though, his long-term body of work, not good. He actually ranks dead last in this field, 50 of 50, plus 0.23 strokes gained over the last 12 months. Obviously, that was a long time ago. That doesn't mean much going into this week, considering he's won back-to-back weeks. Still, though, over the last 3 months, he's only at plus 1.36, but I put a little note at the very bottom of the screen here. Over the last 7 weeks, where his streak has started, he ranks 3rd in this field, plus 2.55. So obviously trending in the right direction, and that's our top 10 list here again for this week. I expect, as I said last week, I expect the winner to come from this graphic, but as Lucas Glover has proven, it doesn't always happen. But here's your top 10, Andy, and we'll start with your outrights in this spot.
The chart that has made us so much money, Nick. I love it. And if you're betting outright winners, you got to pay attention to this chart and the stats that are on there. If you agree or disagree with some of these guys and you like them or you don't like them, please leave us a comment below. Tell us who you like on the outright winner. Always love hearing what you guys are betting on as well. Speaking of outright winners, Nick, I know you've got one, and I'm going to a little bit disagree with this one, but tell us what you like about Victor Hovland this week.
Yeah, Andy, this week, outright winner, try to get number 12 on the year. We're looking at Victor Hovland. Now, his price is pretty much the exact same, or it is the exact same as of right now, everywhere, 16 to 1. Funny note, if Hovland plays the 18th hole last week at just even par, he wins the FedEx St. Jude Championship without even having to go to playoff. He played that hole at 5 over par. He made 2 double bogeys and then 1 other bogey by putting 3 of his 4 tee shots in the water on the 18th hole last week. So aside from that, Hovland was lights out. He ranked 2nd in approach last week, gaining over 6.2 strokes over the 4 days, while also gaining strokes both with his short game and putting. And we know his short game has been his Achilles heel in recent years and especially months. So that's a good sign. I mentioned those tee shots on 18. Obviously, that affected his strokes gained off the tee numbers in a negative way. And last week was the first time on the entire season that he lost strokes off the tee. So I expect him to bounce back with the driver this week. Otherwise, just like I said, phenomenal all year with that driver. He hits for both distance and accuracy. Over his last 8 starts, Hovland's worst finish is a tie for 29th. That includes a joint runner-up at the PGA Championship and, of course, the win at the Memorial. Olympia Fields was the site of the 2020 BMW Championship, which Hovland did play at. He finished in a tie for 40th. Not the best result, but 3 years ago, he was kind of an unproven winner at that time. But he at least has some reps on this course, which does give him an advantage of basically half of the field that didn't play here in 2020. And for what it's worth, I'll mention one last thing. FanDuel offering a very cool option right now on outrights. You can bet outright without Rahm, Scheffler, Rory, and Cantley. So take those 4 guys out of the mix. In that market, you can still get Hovland at plus 1,200, 12 to 1, which I don't think it's a significant drop, and I think it's a pretty good option to consider, especially because you expect at least 2 of those guys to be in contention this week. We saw that last week with Rory and Cantley, of course, losing in that playoff. So it might not be a bad option to consider. I know myself, I'm betting on Hovland, and I'll sprinkle a little bit in this market as well, because if he does win, it might be one of these other guys, or excuse me, if he doesn't, it might be one of the other guys, and this will still get us paid. So Victor Hovland, I like this week at 16-1.
Let's go to players that can trip you up. I've got two of them this week in the field of 50, and these are guys that are both very, very highly priced. And I want nothing to do with them. This one we talked about last week, Scotty Scheffler, and he was not good. He did not return any type of value. His putting has caught up to him at the worst possible time. His putting is just really bad. His tee to green has made up for it. But this is the time of year where the cream is rising to the top, and he's just not getting away with this bad putting situation. It's got to be something that he focuses on and works on in the off season, because he can't putt this bad. He can't be negative strokes gained putting throughout the season and expect to win the championship. He's going to have an incredible run of two tournaments here. But I don't want anything to do with Scotty Scheffler. I think he's a fade in head-to-head matchups. I know Rory is matched up against him at a very fair price. I would absolutely take Rory McIlroy over Scotty Scheffler right now, just because of the putting. Scheffler is the second highest priced golfer, and unless he can figure out his putting, I'm not really into betting on Scotty Scheffler these days. And my second, Nick, you're not going to like this. It's actually Victor Hovland. So he finished 13th last week, and now since his win, he does not have any top 10 finishes. And this is a guy that is priced as a top 5 favorite this week, and I'm just not seeing it. He really struggles around the green and on the green. This is a very long course where approach shots are going to be difficult, so I think he's going to have to get up and down more than once, and I don't think he can do it. This is a guy that finished 13th and 13th the last couple weeks. 13th sounds good, but it was a really short field last week. I don't think he's got the short game to do much damage, and I don't think he sneaks into the top 5 this week. I know his tee to green is really good, but I just don't trust these guys in the final tournaments of the year when their short game and their putting is not on point. So I don't think I'm going to fade Victor Hovland, but he's priced as a top 5 golfer, so that is a guy that I definitely will not get behind. So Scotty Scheffler and Victor Hovland are my two players that can trip you up. Nick likes Victor Hovland outright. Break the tie, guys. Let us know in the chat. Let us know in the comment section what you like. If you think Victor Hovland is going to return value as a top 5 or outright winner, or if you think he's going to come up a little bit short. Nick, we always like to talk about our top finishing position, and let's be honest, I think you could make the case that Lucas Glover is playing the best golf in the world right now. You like him to continue his hot ways this week, so talk to us what you like about Lucas Glover and his top finishing position props.
Yeah, I already mentioned him. I can't go a third week potentially for another win on Lucas Glover and not put money on him. I mean, granted, winning 3 weeks in a row is extremely difficult to do, so I'm not going to go ahead and bet that. But what he is doing on the golf course right now is just incredible, and I just want to get a piece of the action while I can. There's no indication that Glover's going to slip backwards here, at least not significantly. And considering the field size, Andy, this week is just 50 players. To cash a top 20, you're basically saying he's just got to beat half of the field. So I think that's very doable. Again, I don't want to bet the outright. I think that's a big ask to go 3 in a row, but he has been the hottest player, one of the hottest players in the field since the beginning of July. His last 6 starts, he has 5 top 10 finishes. He did miss the cut at the 3M, but then he followed that up with back-to-back wins the last 2 weeks. He doesn't miss fairways. His irons have been very solid, and his putter has been unbelievable. He flapped a little bit on the back nine on Sunday at that FedEx St. Jude Championship, but he hold a couple incredible putts to kind of keep momentum going and then, of course, get him into the playoff, which he eventually won. So I'm going to ride the confidence that he has right now for another week. I'll take him on the leaderboard markets, plus 240 for a top 10 and minus 120 to basically beat half of the field. I think is very doable for Lucas Glover again this week.
That's going to do it for us this week. Don't forget to get all of our plays at WagerTalk.com. I've got a 3% best bet that is up, and I'm telling you, you guys want to go get that play. This is one of my favorite plays I've had in a long, long time in golf. So coming off a really nice 2-0 week last night, Nick is going to go for outright winner number 12, an incredible record. So you can grab both of our plays at WagerTalk.com. Next week, field goes down to about 30 guys. So we are going to determine the winner for the 2023 PGA field, and Nick and I will be here next week to break it down. Good luck on all your bets this week, and we will see everyone next week on Wager Talk Extra.